Franklin and Bash Season 4, Episode 4, Good Cop, Bad Cop. This is probably one of my favorite episodes this season so far. I know we've only had 4, but I really enjoyed this one. My favorite part about it was the bad cop in the episode and him just continuously coming after Franklin and Bash. And we find out he has a connection to the owner, which I figured from the very beginning when he did like this second thing when he just kept messing with him. I thought initially maybe he's related to the guy. They're just cousins and they don't have the same last name, so you can just hide that type of thing unless someone actually looks you up like they did. But we find out in this one that he's actually moonlighting and doing some extra work for the guy who got the trespassing charges on his former neighbor as well as Franklin and Bash. But unfortunately, we don't get to see him kind of get his comeuppance at the end of the episode, and that's a really odd term to use. But we don't see that happen in this one, unfortunately. But I'm hoping that comes back in a later episode this season. Like something happens where the cop that they had helping them in this episode, she is able to actually find something. She mentioned how she had another idea, but of course they don't get into that because it's at the end of the episode. So I'm really hoping that comes back in a couple of episodes, and she's like, "Hey, I need you guys to help out, and he's working with this person, so I need you guys to kind of do your silly thing and do what you do, and get charges pressed on you, or just do this or do that, and hopefully they'll be able to get him that way." But it sucked to see him go, but I'm hoping at least that they did do it that way because this guy is officially a crooked cop, so they're gonna be able to get him later down the line, and they couldn't do it in this one because although it would have helped them win the case as well as take care of him and kind of get even with him for screwing him over throughout the episode, they didn't want to do that to the cop that was helping them out because she would have been stuck dealing with every other cop having ratted out one of her own. So I thought it was an interesting way to end the episode where they did sort of win. They won the case. They were able to get the guy's property back. They proved that the guy who had stolen the property had done it by illegal means, and they won and everything, and that was really nice, like they typically do. So that was really no shocker. But they still had another side of it where they still got screwed over. Like their clothes and stuff were lost. They got those tickets, which of course they got the trespassing one done, but they had the speeding ticket. They got put in jail for lobster abuse, which I don't know why. I guess I just never would have thought that you could really get in trouble for lobsters, but lobster racing illegal, so they got put in jail for that type of stuff, and they couldn't really get revenge on that guy. So hopefully they're saving that for another episode. But I really enjoyed the main case. We got to see a little bit more of the new character, the new lawyer, and she mentioned how she was really glad that she decided to work with the guys because she was able to really get into the game. She's helping them out of prison and stuff and doing real cases on her own. So it was really cool to see a little bit more of her. The other side of the story with Infeld trying to take down Damien, that was interesting too, and it had it was sort of an up and down the story with them where it was just really cool to actually see Infeld really go against his nephew, which typically he babied him through the entire series, which is kind of what Carp hated. And it was interesting to see that complete flip because now they are actually enemies. Damien, or Carp, whatever you want to call him, he is at the new firm, so he wants this guy as a client, Sato, and Phil wants him back too. So it was really interesting to see Phil just do a complete 180 in how he typically treats his nephew, and he treats him like an outcast, like an enemy, and he says he's not my nephew, and he calls him by his full name and stuff. So that was really funny. And he tells the guy exactly what happened. He's like, he killed this guy, and he said no one ever said it was murder and stuff like that. He sends pictures of him masturbating, all sorts of things. So it was really interesting, and Damien decided to reject the offer because he thought once again it was his uncle helping him. When he actually went to talk to Sato, he realized that his uncle wasn't saying stuff to actually help him. He went scorched earth, and he was telling him all the bad things that happened. But it actually proved that Damien was able to do what he wanted to do on his own without his uncle helping him out. So it was really cool to have that experience for Damien, but at the same time, he still lost because he thought, I can't accept this because I'd still just be getting help from my uncle. And then he found out that his uncle said nothing but horrible things about him. And he got that based on just his sheer personality and actually being a hard worker. I guess the elasticity of his work ethic or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was funny to see that he changed his mind based on principle And when he wanted to change it back because he found out that his uncle wasn't actually helping him but trying to hurt him, it was too late for him to switch back and actually win the client. So that was pretty funny, and of course everything worked out for Infeld. But I did enjoy the side story. It was a complete switch from what we normally got to see. A lot of Damien, a lot of Carp in this episode. I think the most we've had him in this season so far. So that was good too. He was in this episode a lot. Like pretty much every episode with Infeld, he was in it at least at some point. Like when he was first in the episode, he was kind of at the end of Infeld's scene and was talking to him a little. But it was good to see him. I'm excited for next week's episode. I don't know what we're gonna get. I didn't actually watch the preview, or there wasn't a preview, I don't believe. But I definitely enjoyed this episode. It's definitely a good one. Like I said, I'm really hoping that they do bring the I guess bad cop back in for the season. They might even keep the neighbor in. I don't know. He's one of his houses at least because he's super rich. One of his houses is next to Franklin and Bash on the beach, so he might be in there later in the season as well. At least as a little nuisance to them. He might not be a main part of the episode again, but he might be the side story or something again, or the side story instead of the main story, and it'll be a different issue compared to him having taken someone else's land and they're just doing it for a case. It's actually something personal because he's trying to screw them over specifically. But enjoyed the episode. Of course, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And what did you guys think about the bad cop kind of getting away in this episode? Did you want him to get caught? Do you hope that he does come back so that they can catch him in a later episode? What did you think about his character escaping at the end? Comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.